Welcome to D50 After Dark. I'm your host, Mickey Bennett, and today we are having a Season 2 recap episode. We are here with the team for D50 After Dark, and we're going to discuss the Season 2, which we're completing, and the upcoming Season 3. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey,
Fun, crazy,
You know what,
fun
Tommy?
season. We went to places that we thought was possible, but we kind of didn't think was possible in a way, and it was crazy. It was what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, whatever that sound made, it was that. Intense.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this past season and going over it and looking at what we did and thinking about what was different. And one of the things that was different, which I think you were alluding to, is in the second season, we moved around locations. Right? In the first season, we were completely at Habitat Commons, great location. And we decided to explore, and we did coffee shops, we did libraries, we did people's offices. It was definitely a new experience for me, but especially for the team, getting our technology set up in different places. How was that for you, Tommy?
It was forced. Like when we started off the season like that, forced, when we kind of lost. We kind of got Habitat Commons back a little bit, but it was iffy still. And I actually got more access into Habitat Commons, but I just didn't want to like step on that as much as I didn't want to step on that really. So like we actually got more access of it. Like I was given full access to the building where I was like part of our partner team who was providing that for us, who actually has a space there.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on it too much.
I don't want to say anything about Habitat Commons has been great. It was just there was a period of time where we were spreading our wings for a moment, and it was great. And we came back, and they did some updates to their podcast studio, and it was great again. So,
I will say this: we got some epic episodes coming out there in this season with their upgrade to their studio.
For sure,
epic looking.
Habitat Commons continues to be a great location, and now we know we can go other places too when it makes sense to. So that was a fun part about season 2.
Which that's one things I want to talk about if we're going to the next season. I want to go a couple things I just thought of as I was on a little walk a minute ago. That's the ability to be on location, and I would like to use that even more.
Yeah,
like we have one episode almost lined up. Like one sec. I don't want to get too much into it as it's nothing's confirmed yet. But we have one episode. I've kind of done this in the past too. With like I don't know what it was, but we went to this office and interviewed this person, and so I've actually experienced with that as well.
The one thing we didn't do was go on we talked about going to an outdoor location, and which would have been a challenge, I'm sure, technically. And was that Ezekiel or who was it that we talked about doing that with?
I was first episode with Kim.
Okay.
We had all these ideas, and that's the one where we were forced to go like on location. We didn't have the exactly right equipment, and our sound was off, and it was talked about such great ideas with Mickey and Kim.
I think when you're dealing with those, sometimes the best ideas come up. Your brain is in overdrive, and you're really thinking.
Jerry, what were you gonna say? Yes. I don't want to. I kind of went over.
No, the on location, that's exactly the word I was thinking, because a lot of times that on location really can jump out at someone, because it brings them to that locale. It's the same way when you have, like, outdoor or outdoor sporting events, if you will. Same difference. You're there, you're live, and that makes it really kind of jump out at the audience.
Yeah, I know with Victor Johnson, we're in like a huddle room off the lobby of his office where he works. And so that was interesting to come to him. And I know there's other guests where we considered going to their office where they work, so we're in their environment when we're interviewing them. So that's fun. I feel like it's more work for you guys, but it is fun.
Oh, no matter where you go, it's a setup wherever we go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had a chance to look at Willie Geist on, I think it's NBC Sunday, and he has this little segment, and he breaks it off from the show, and it's a podcast as well. But it always starts out with whomever he is interviewing. They are walking down the street someplace, and then they'll go to the actual interview room or interview location, be it a bar, be it a restaurant, be it someone's office. So we may, that's something we can look at.
We can do that
in the future.
It's like establishment tracking shot.
Right.
So it'd be like the intro music. You have an intro way of bringing the guest into the interview in a casual way. It sounds like a logistical, technical issue.
Without tracking shot, the phone is one of the best things you can use these days, especially the backside camera.
You've been doing it. It works very well.
The only thing I would worry about is the audio aspect. We probably would have to have both individuals mic'd up. That's probably where we'd need.
Are they talking in this, or is it just them walking?
Yeah. No, it's them talking. Just a quick. It usually lasts about 30 seconds on the actual broadcast, but I don't know how long they actually walk to the location. But if you ever get a chance, it's usually Sunday mornings around 7:30. He does a sit down interview with so and so.
Probably find it on demand somewhere available too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it is a podcast.
Willie Geist.
Willie Geist. I think it's Geist.
I've done something like that in the past back in college, and with walking and people talking as well.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily have to perfectly replicate his particular element, but it is we can look at different ways of structuring the recordings to make the show more interesting, and that leads to another thing I thought about that was different this year. Is we experimented with inserting content into the middle of the episode. Two examples that I can think of specifically: when we interviewed Walter, the Encourager Price, we had separately recorded a mock of a club voting in new club members, and we inserted that into the interview, and it worked well. I thought it worked well, and it was a fun thing to do.
Nearly a year ago now. We did that.
And then later, when we interviewed the youth leadership team, Hesh and Nikki and Jen, Hesh wasn't able to be there for the interview, so I interviewed him separately.
Light bulb coming up too. What you just said there too. You can finish what you're saying there, but I had a light bulb.
Yeah, we inserted his recording of my interview with him into the episode, and I feel like we did it fairly seamlessly, so that it was almost like he was there on Zoom or something in part of the conversation. It took a little bit of extra thought, but I thought it worked well.
That was definitely like how the pros do it when it goes to the TV days. So combining a little of the TV experience into podcasting. But my light bulb when you said that episode, it was that this was the last minute. It wasn't the best decision I made, but it was a great idea to do this. When we walked into that studio at the library and we saw the green screen, it's like, oh no, it's a green screen. It used to be okay with a white wall, but what are we going to do? Well, it's a green screen. It's TV. Virtual background. I came up with that idea on the spot. I didn't choose the exact correct background. There was like, if you notice on it, there's a watermark on it and everything. But it was like a purple, like our brand color virtual background. So we had a virtual background behind you.
Yeah.
That we used a green screen for.
Cool.
Yeah. That I mean, being able to use green screens certainly opens up a lot of possibilities for our setting and it's like the look and feel of the show. So I thought again, like that's one of those things where I feel like it's more work for y'all to insert the video and all that kind of stuff, but it worked really well, especially with the youth leadership team and bringing Hesh in. I was really happy with how that worked.
It's and you know, it's people that'll tell you this too. It's just it's pre-pro. Jerry knows it's pre-production. Pre-pro is like the acronym or like shorthand. We say pre-pro.
Yeah. One other change that I felt that we had this season, and I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts on this, is I feel like in the first season, the district would give us subjects that they wanted us to cover, and we'd find somebody who could talk about that with us, and we'd talk about that subject. In our first episode, we were talking about proxy voting, and we had a couple instances like that. But in this season, we say, let's find the leaders, focus on the district leaders themselves and other interesting people we can find, and then we'll see what topics work for those individuals. And I felt that made the content more natural and more interesting. What do you guys think about that? And how did that affect your like guest recruitment?
Right.
Yeah, I do feel like Helen can probably talk to this a lot more too. Go ahead, Helen.
I remember starting out that I actually took the material we were supposed to cover and I researched the heck out of it. I actually made a script for the whole thing.
First episode ever. Remember that one?
Yeah, remember.
I was amazed at what it could be done when you just, but it gave some background and I hope it was helpful. But I certainly learned that you don't do that. That's not where it is. And it's and Tommy definitely emphasizes that this should be casual. This should be driven by the guest in a way, as even that's what Mickey is saying in essence, that you pick the person and then you fit the program around that person's strengths, that person's interests, so that it becomes a more natural interview.
Yeah.
Engineer it from what I did in the beginning.
For me, towards the end of the first season, we started doing pre-interviews, and so throughout the whole second season, we had the pre-interview as a standard kind of required part of the process, and I feel like that's been very helpful to make sure the episode itself has direction. It
worked best for me too when I called the people and really did a pre-interview on my own. And I'm trying to think of several that I did in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One area that I think we briefly touched on it at one of our production meetings early last year, but I don't think we actually was able to accomplish it. It's what I call behind the scenes, and our behind the scenes would be us being at a actual venue, like at a meeting, at a planning meeting for like a conference, or Tommy, even this, being with us as we are actually at a conference. I got a big kick out of Tommy at the last conference we had over at UTD. He fell in love with the lighting system there, and that's
I was
something
doing
that
lights.
That's something that you normally don't see. At least like the general audience won't know or have a feel for what it's like to have the equipment like we had at UTD. And so to have a behind the scenes, go through all the different aspects, gathering the music that different people will require,
Where
the mood lighting.
Let's go on that like really quickly. Like that, it could be. We could do that. I know we definitely want to do it. Where would you see that being able to be done? Where can we go and do something?
Well, for one thing,
I'm not
the
being
planning
like
meeting-
trying to be like devil's advocate. I'm actually. I want to do this.
Well, we talked about the B-roll aspect, and I think if we can get a couple of live planning meetings and just shoot just a little bit of the interaction between the different chair people on as they plan for the next conference, and then maybe have the person who is
TLI conference, all the different committees. We ask their permission if D50 After Dark can come on and spotlight what it looks like to be on a committee.
Interesting. That
I think we all have experience of being on a committee for a conference for sure. With some being chairs,
or maybe even an area director meeting with the club executive.
Area director meeting is coming up.
The worry or the fear that people have about taking that job, it shows how it goes.
Well, I know, Tommy, you had wanted this season to do like record behind the scenes of us and our process of making the show, to do like some kind of behind the scenes episode. I never got into the habit of like recording myself before or after an interview or anything like that. So I never really had content to provide to you for doing something like that. But this conversation kind of has me thinking of an idea that I'd had. Wouldn't it be cool for the next spring conference for us to have like a breakout session where we record an episode in front of live studio audience?
I tried so hard to push for something like that this last conference. I think we can get that, but
just have to find the right person running.
I think a lot of us weren't available too, and that kind of just but I was pushing for that, even if it was just me and then some other people who also know podcasting as well. I was looking into that aspect too. Have like a podcast panel set up with all the stuff there, and people can listen in on the actual conversation, whether it's my personal podcast or the D50 After Dark podcast.
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
So breakout session
at the spring conference. I think that could be fun because I know they would have some of the advanced clubs host a demo meeting, and so
another thing we talked about a few other things and what's coming up, what we want to see in this next season, but we want to talk about, and we hinted on a little bit, but what we set out to do and we did. Everyone know what that was?
What we set out to do this second season and that we did do? Well, what stands out for me is we set out to interview all the senior 3, which we did, plus some other people, some of the
we
top
did
leaders.
do that. Kim, Rhonda, Denise.
Yep, we got all 3 of the senior 3 plus some others.
But at the beginning of the year, we also set a goal to hit 50 episodes on the show. And we hit that goal.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. And which was quite an accomplishment. And it's kind of
hard work. Like I said, it was intense. It was, but yeah, it was a grind to get there.
Well, before we started this episode, we were beginning to talk, and we mentioned something. One of the ways we were able to accomplish that is for each person we interviewed, we set up so that we would have 3 or 4 segmented conversations with each person, so that we could have, say, 1 interview per month that would be, you know, 4 episodes that month, so we could have weekly episodes and reach that 50 episode target.
And we can still do that, like, if it makes sense for, like, if someone wants to talk about something and it's, like, separate from another topic we've already done. If it makes sense, we can still do that. Like, 2 episodes with 1 person.
Yeah.
We can do whatever if it makes sense still.
So before we talk about our goals for the next season, I had just a couple questions for whoever wants to answer them. Like, does anybody have like a favorite moment or favorite guest from season 2?
I'll jump right in there because, like, I mentioned this last night at our regular club meeting, but having Walter Price explain Robert's Rules of Order was an outstanding meeting, because, you know, that's something that we do, that every club does on a regular basis, but to find out exactly the origin, how it all came about, was just a fascinating, you know, meeting, just to see it from behind the camera, kind of, you know, point of view. And I gotta imagine that a lot of people have no idea on where Robert's Rules came from. Who is Robert? I think he actually explained who Robert was, or how that name came about. So that to me, that was a really fantastic meeting.
And he introduced a lot of reading material.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my favorite moments, you know, in our efforts to provide not just an entertaining show, but something that's useful that you can take away. That was certainly a highlight of the season, where an explanation of how to implement basic level Robert's Rules of Order. That was one of my favorite moments too. Who else has a favorite moment?
But I have one as well. But did you hear that? I don't know if it's officially started up yet, but do you know he's starting a Robert's Rules of Order club?
Oh, yeah, really?
I heard that.
How exciting! That is cool. I love it. Plus, he's got great charisma. He was just really fun to be with and have a conversation with. So that was definitely a highlight for me as well.
All right, and I have a favorite moment. Anyone else has a favorite?
Go for it, Tommy.
I mentioned, and we mentioned with the youth leadership, and I mentioned the green screen aspect, and the fact that, and we talked about this already, the fact that we were able to play pre-prod clips in the episode and using a green screen, all of that at once. That was my favorite. That was it made me busy. That gave me definitely a lot more buttons to press during an episode.
Yeah, but you handled it. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. How about you, Helen? Any favorite moments or guests?
I enjoyed Ezekiel. I guess I just thought he was refreshing and fun to talk to.
Ezekiel's that name,
information he was giving.
The Echo Entrepreneur.
Yes.
who went to the same community college as me.
Yes, that's right. You all in Indiana, right? Was it?
Indiana, that's right. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to talk to as well. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So also, what did you guys learn this season? Because we're in this, not just to provide a podcast to our listeners, but also develop our own skills and learn some lessons. What did y'all learn this season doing D50 After Dark?
Flexibility.
Flexibility, huh? In what way?
When you take one step towards, instead of being locked into a studio and have the equipment and everything, being flexible, it helps. It's being like almost respectful to the guest. We can technically go to them if need be. Like, that's always a good thing. It's always a good learning back in the college days, going back to that. It was always a good best practice to go to the interviewee's location to make them feel the most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it was like a hard-hitting news interview or something.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I enjoyed was the fact that, I don't know if you remember, at least when I first started the video production class, the first lesson that they gave us was how quick you can set up and break down equipment. And I think we had to do it within a 15-minute time frame. Now, we don't have the big cameras like we used to have, but the fact still remains, as Tommy says, you got to be flexible, but you got to be mindful of the guest's time, if you will. So you want to, get in there, get everything set up as quick as possible so we can get on with the actual meat of the interview.
Yeah, setup has been my weakness. Teardown, I love teardown. In my other club, which is hybrid, like down Metrocrest, I'll get into this next part too, but I want to visit this club. I'll get into that here in a moment. I want to Metrocrest, we're at teardown. We usually break a little after noon, 03, a little late. We're trying to get better with that, but I usually someone else sets it up, but I'm the one breaking that down, and from about 102 to 115, by 115 I'll have everything tore down, and we have 2 cameras, 2 webcam cameras, 3 devices for Zoom, and it will all be torn down the way I do it by about 12 minutes.
Put it away. Can you find everything the next time?
It's not as super organized as it was. He had David Haney.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably have him on at some point, as being a fellow past division director and everything.
Yeah.
He had everything color coded, labeled, had a little step-by-step how to do, but it's changed, and we need to upgrade that too. But it was color coded, it was organized. We just need to redo it for the new setup that we have. But yeah, it was very organized. It's all in a bag in a little carry-on airplane suitcase.
Yeah.
Everything fits in there.
We had
barely.
The first hybrid, when we were doing hybrid, my husband made individual bags for everybody. It had most of the equipment. Jerry was one of the people who helped us. Had most of the equipment they needed to set up for a.
Yeah, like a hybrid kit. That's something that it's good to have, a hybrid kit.
Right. You could set it up. You had cameras, but you could set it up by phone. We had all the equipment to do it different ways.
All right, like that. I hinted on the next thing I want to get into about future episodes, but I'll let Mickey kick that part off, finish up the last part too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk about next. Unless Helen, did you have a lesson learned
No, I don't. Not in this season. I learned most of what I have applied in that first season, and that's to just how I prepare. If I'm going to offer background and so forth, I just prepare differently than I did starting out with the first one, and I gradually learned, I think, better how to present something that helps the people who are going forward with the actual program, which is Mickey for the most part. So
yeah, I feel a little bit the same. Like I learned a lot of the more challenging lessons in the first season, and then the second season it's mostly been applying and growing on those lessons I learned in the first season about how to do the interviews and how to get them set up and all of that. So that I feel the same. So going into the next, maybe our final topic is what do we want to accomplish in the next season? What do we want to do?
I would like to see more people involved, or more people taking each of our places, or at least helping in some way. I want them to learn, other people to learn. I think we've made outreach, and I don't think it worked, but I don't see why I couldn't eventually.
Yeah. Bring more people into the team and get them trained up in case the four of us don't want to. Maybe we at some point one of us want to move on, do something else.
Right.
Keep the project going, even if one or more of us move on. Sure.
Right. We've had vacations, and each of us would have times when we aren't available, and to have somebody learning and taking that place would be beneficial to them, I think, and certainly to us for the smoothness of operation.
I think we implement this behind the scenes. I think that would be a good promotion, especially for like what I want, like part of what I want to do, like sharing everything, let people know. Let a lot of people know. We got the content now. We got content for people to listen to. 50 episodes plus.
Yeah.
Let's share it out. Let's get this content in front of people.
Right.
How about you, Tommy? I feel like you've got some ideas for the next season. You're just ready to share. So what are you thinking?
One, I was kind of waiting on this last season for permission. I don't know why. We don't really need permission to do this, but I want to go to clubs and showcase clubs, like a demo meeting, a podcast demo meeting. And then have like an interview before or after, whatever, about their meeting or about topics or what. Anything specific they do, or anything special topics as well. Have a little short interview and then have a demo podcast episode meeting.
We did a complete recording of an Allen Toastmasters meeting once. Chris wanted to show it to SMU when we were pitching SMU. We had both the football team, the sports, the whole sports section of the university, and the law school, two completely different.
Do you have that recording? We
didn't make it, but
you didn't make it.
We didn't make it as far as we got the demo, but it was to get permission to do that. It does take permission
with the club.
With the club, and I'd have to look into it again and see if Chris remembers. It just seems like it involved also calling international. They're reluctant to do that, at least to have it out there. I don't know why, as long as you have permission from all the people involved.
Yeah.
And we did. We
do demo meetings. Do you have to get permission to do demo meetings?
To record them?
Like actual
when we went out to
club
East
growth demo meetings?
I don't know whether
we record parts of our club meeting on Zoom sometimes.
Do you put it out on YouTube or where it can be seen?
No.
Well, that's what we're talking about, though. See, this is going to be out there.
I guess we need to get maybe a video consent form from the people in attendance. But Tommy,
I think that's what it is. Yeah, video consent. We just need video consent, and there's a form out there for that.
Yes.
So Tommy, let me ask you your idea. Is your idea to merely video and document a normal demo meeting, or is your idea to use a club meeting to demo the recording of a podcast?
I think both. Like my idea is go to a club and say that's and we do it's a demo meeting, but it's an actual meeting that could be showcased, or we can showcase parts of a meeting, I guess.
Mickey, are you talking about then showing how you do the podcast? In other words,
we can do that too.
Are we demonstrating to the club how we record a podcast by recording a podcast right there, or are we?
That could be totally. We could do that too.
Demo meeting to show YouTube like what a demo meeting looks like.
It's more to show what a meeting looks like, and then it's something that we can then share out, and then the club can share it out on we can give them the link. Say, here, take a look at our meeting. Even if it's not like an online club, it's something people can go to look at online before they decide to come visit. And if we get the clicks when they come click on that meeting, so it helps the club, it helps us with views and downloads and listens too.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a couple ideas. It's basically several ideas, and then I put them all together in my head and had this kind of vision of what we could do with the show, but it would possibly be too much work. So one thing is, when we did the episode with the youth leadership team and we were able to bring Hesh in, and it's worked so smoothly, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I was thinking about what if, I know Tommy's been doing a lot of live streaming with his other podcast, and I was like, what if we did D50 After Dark as a live stream
and go live,
right? Interesting. And then another thought I had is like, what if we format the show like a trimmed down Toastmasters meeting, like almost like a demo meeting. We can get somebody from the district to record one of their speeches and send us the video, and they don't have to be there live, but I can introduce the speaker, and then you could play their live or their recorded speech, and we could also have a recorded evaluation to show afterwards. We could also record somebody doing a table topic, so we could have each of those elements kind of pre-recorded, introduce them into the show like as a live stream, and then also bring in the person that I'm interviewing, and then have them there in studio.
It'll all be produced live.
And then all done live in a kind of a trimmed down Toastmasters meeting format, almost kind of like a demo meeting. Like, here you go, we have a prepared speech, we have a table topics, here's an evaluation, here's the interview with our guest of the week. It sounds like a lot of work though, but it could be pretty slick if we were to pull that off and do that as a live stream.
What part sounds like it's a lot of work?
Well, I mean, we'd have to gather all those recordings and get people to record those things for us and send them, and then you'd have to have it, and then just also depending on how often we did it. Like, we've been doing weekly episodes, which has been easier than you would think because we record once a month and cut it up into 4 episodes. But if we were going to do this, would we continue to do it weekly? And so we'd have to do this live stream every week. We'd have to gather those videos and get them ready and get our guests to be available for the scheduled live stream. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces there, and that's why it starts to sound like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Not that we can't do it or it wouldn't be worth it, but anyway, that's the thought I had. I think if we could do that, that would be really interesting. But if we just kept doing what we did in season 2 and just brought in more great, interesting people, I'd be thrilled, because I think season 2 was a really fantastic season.
I know what
Mickey, to kind of jump on what you were talking about. I think to cut down on the amount of work, we would have to find a really good club, an established club that has everything set in stone on how they operate. They don't have to scramble to get roles, just prior to. They have 2 speakers. Everyone is almost like you have to get a distinguished club and go from there, because that would be ideal, because then you're sure to get a good product by getting a club that is well run, has everything in place, timing wise, content wise. And I'm sure that there's several clubs that we can probably approach. We just need to know who would be available and when.
I'll recommend Allen Toastmasters, or
Metro Crest, Verbal Expressions
would too. But I think Allen Toastmasters has a venue that would be conducive. I think. I don't know. It's kind of tight, maybe.
Well, as far as the details, if we were to go in that direction, like all the details of how to work it out, we can kind of discuss through all that in a planning session. But that was just some of the things I was thinking, is if we were to grow it to another level of sophistication. That's a thought I had. Not that we're like needing another level of sophistication, because I think we're doing really good in the current format.
Content is everything. So if we're getting good content, and I think what I'm hearing is that this season we had exciting content, and the first season was maybe a little more instructive and a little, I don't know, drier maybe, but this one was more exciting because of the way we picked guests and the way we approached the guests, that they showed their best selves. And I think that's what we could continue to do. The one thing I'm thinking about when Mickey mentioned that it could be complicated, I think about news shows where the poor person who's giving the news to say, okay, can you show this clip? And the clip doesn't show that. Those are kind of the things, that kind of glitches that you're talking about, where it does become difficult.
The magic of live TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I got one idea here. I don't know exactly how we could accomplish it just yet, but every springtime we have this little thing called the Big 3 election. What if we were able to gain access of whoever is running for, whoever's interested for whatever position?
Yeah.
Do some interviews with them. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry, Jerry. We talked about this quite thoroughly. We really wanted this season to interview candidates for the Big 3, or even maybe the division director roles. There is a little more complicated than we expected as far as like regulations within Toastmasters International, and we looked into the rules and talked to it, and I think it's doable. I think we just got a little bit intimidated by, having to make sure we did everything just right, so that we didn't accidentally make it unfair to anybody. And so, I mean, I still love the idea of giving the people in the district more access to the candidates for leadership roles in the district. I love the idea. This time around, we just didn't quite understand everything that we would have to do to make sure we follow the rules, though.
I think it's up to the candidates too, to make sure they don't advertise too much as part of it, right? They can only do so much. They're allowed a certain number of times they can actually send an email. They're allowed a certain number, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, they have rules about like how they use social media and how they use emails and all of that stuff. And like I said, I still think it's doable. It just, we had so many other opportunities that were more low-hanging fruit than that one. But Jerry, I agree with you. I love the idea. I'd love to do it next time if we can. It's just not as low-hanging of a fruit as simply interviewing the people who are already in the leadership positions.
Okay, so here's a way around that, around a lot of that. Yeah, we record it before the election, but we don't release it until after the election. You ever see these shows where they talk to people going through an election process, almost like behind the scenes, and then like you show it afterwards, whatever the results are, you show whatever you have.
Yeah.
Oh, learn about your person you elected.
Yeah, it's a way of learning about them before they're elected.
So it's their advertisement, but it's after the fact.
It's an interesting idea.
And we're not making it unfair, or we're not basically violating any of the rules the international puts on candidates.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. We lose the value of being able to inform the potential voters and proxy voters about the candidates before the election, but it would potentially be an interesting way to learn about the people after the fact. Worth discussing further. Well, I think we're going on like what, 40 minutes or something. So we just
wrap up with I don't know, favorites. I don't know what you have in mind for a wrap up.
Well, I mean, that was kind of my wrap up question, is what we want to do next season.
This was kind of a podcast episode and like a production meeting. I know we've been trying to get a production meeting, so this episode is our production meeting.
Sort of behind the scenes of our production planning sessions. That's true. This
could be our start of our behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Are we going to do another 50 episodes next season?
If it happens that way, then whatever happens, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not ruling it out.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, I tell you, I enjoy...
Real quickly, just one. Who would you like to see interviewed?
Great question. Who would I like to see interviewed? Great question. One of my favorite interviews from the past was when we interviewed, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she was the first vice president of Toastmasters International.
Aletta Rochat.
Yeah, that was fun. Because she was, such an important person in the leadership of Toastmasters. She was a really great guest. I wouldn't mind interviewing her again, or finding some way to interview somebody else in the upper echelons of the Toastmasters leadership. That
someone was pointed to my direction as like a podcast mentor to help us, maybe even revenue, but he was going through like candidacy for international director, and so he was, I guess, off limits at the time last fall. But I think he's done with like that candidacy, so he's international director. I think he's in it now. I don't know if we can do anything with that. I know it would be definitely a behind the scenes mentor type role, and he would be like helping us like improve content or improve the podcast in the direction or something in that regard.
That's someone you would like to see on the show.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Sujit.
How about you, Jerry? Who would you like to see on the show?
I don't have anyone in particular. However, the thought just came in my mind about this because I had a couple of years ago when I had Globe Life and we were on the verge of disbanding. I had a lot of contact with someone up at Toastmasters International in Colorado on all of the ins and outs of basically saving a club, if you will. I don't know if she was a customer service person, but she offered a lot of information, and that may not be a bad idea to have a show with someone on that level speaking to the clubs in general on what they can do from a Toastmaster International point of view.
Yeah, I'd like to see some new information out there, whatever the new ideas are on that topic.
Yeah.
I have some old things that have been copied, and we've had them for 10, 15 years. Be good to hear what, of course, Aletta Rochat had some ideas there too.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Helen? Any people you would like to see?
No, I can't think of a name right now. No.
Well, I know
fellow club member.
We talked about getting Jim Key on. We were trying to get him to guest host one time, and he's a busy man. He wasn't available, but maybe if we could have him as just a guest on sometime, that would be a lot of fun because he's an interesting guy.
Mm-hmm. I can't think of anybody right now. Who's the lady who used to be one of the president years ago, and she's in the.
Are you talking about Pauline Shirley?
Yeah,
she's technically in my home club.
Yeah,
and a lot of my friends are in a club. She's more active in Park Central.
Yes, that's the one I was trying to think of.
I understand she's very active in that club. So yeah, having Pauline Shirley on would be fantastic. She's a past international director. She's the second woman to be international president of Toastmasters
in the district and a former upper echelon.
Yeah.
Past.
She'd do it. I get the feel. Yeah, she'd definitely do it. If we could find a time for her.
Yep.
She was at the area director training last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also is while I know I said I wanted to find some people in the upper echelons, like Pauline Shirley. It's a great idea. On the other end of the spectrum, it would be interesting to bring in, division directors who I don't think we really got to, maybe an area director and talk to them about their experience as an area director, or even just, some miscellaneous, club members, a club president and some of those people, just for like a one-off episode or something, to have them to kind of get a full spectrum of the Toastmasters experience.
trying to think of somebody's name. Yeah, there's a new member in Confident Leaders, and I can't think of her name right now. And I haven't officially met her because I haven't met her because I've been only going remotely. But she's from Africa, and she's extremely excited about being a Toastmaster. It's just invigorating to talk with her and see how excited somebody can be to be a Toastmaster, and she's just taking it off. She's just going crazy with it. She tries every job, every role, she'll be an officer. It's just one of those people who are excited from the beginning. That would be fun to have. Maybe a bunch of them in one room. I don't know, but she would be interesting.
Right. Well, we should wrap up with a call to action for our listeners. I have an idea for a call to action. Share D50 After Dark with all of your Toastmasters friends. And 2, post in the comments who you want to see come on the show.
Okay.
My call to action is to be adding to that, and yeah, share, comment, like, subscribe, do all the things you see on the bottom of the button. Comment, leave a review on Spotify, review on Apple Podcasts, all those things. You can do a lot of things for free to help us out. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, just costs you maybe 5 minutes of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Share and leave a comment also, like who you want to see, what do you want to see us do coming up.
Yep. All right, that wraps up season 2 of D50 After Dark. Thank all of you for everything you do for the show, and thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in again. And don't go anywhere, because we are going to do another season 3, and it's going to be the best season ever, my friends.